traditional performance, he was given the honour of becoming the first foreign leader to dine in the capital's ancient imperial palace. It was a soft start to what are expected to be 2 days of high-stake talks dominated by the North Korea crisis. In the past,
thank you both for...
But when it comes to Jinping currently in his element, having consolidated his position as China's most powerful leader since Mao. Debbie Edward, ITV News.
So this comes exactly a year since Donald Trump was elected to power. So what's he achieved so far? Well, joining me is social commentator and statistician Liberty Vitert and Christopher Carman, who's a professor of American politics at Glasgow University. Thank you both for joining us here in the studio. I want to start with you, Christopher. What do you make of his time in office?
Well, it's easy to think that he hasn't been terribly successful. If we look at the immigration ban, or if we look at the failure to get the Obama repeal through Congress, we could say, well, there hasn't been any major legislation. But I think one of the key things to look at is the orders that he gives to his administration, telling them how to carry out policy. He's been incredibly active in using these executive orders, rolling back environmental policies, the crackdown on immigration, in a variety of other areas that he has really stomped down his foot and really made a mark. So he actually has been a very active president. You'd have to go back to looking to Lyndon Johnson to find another president who has been as active using executive orders as Trump has.
Liberty, you crunch all the numbers. Do the numbers add up well for the US economy?
Yes, they do, in a simple word. It's too early to tell whether Trump is actually making the difference or not. There's been a trend, but we don't attribute trends to other presidents. It's their time in office. So certainly under Trump, our economy is doing very well, but it's too early to tell whether it's actually Trump's policies or not that are causing that job growth and that economic growth.
Now, you've touched on it already, but for most Americans, the concern is getting a job, providing for their family, chasing the American dream, I suppose. Do you think Trump has helped job growth?
Well, he'll say things like, I created 1 million jobs this month or whatever. The problem is we don't ask each person, are you employed or unemployed in America? We ask a small amount of people. It's a guess. It's a good guess, but it's a guess. So there's a plus or minus on either side. And at the moment, the increase in jobs that we think exists is actually less than the plus or minus error on either side, meaning we have no idea how many jobs have actually been increased by Trump. I think it's probably fair to say that there has been an increase in the economy and he has helped the American people in that sense. Whether it was attributed to him or not is questionable.
Well, what about last night's elections then in Virginia and New Jersey, Christopher? What can we make of them? Democratic wins? How much of a worry is that for Donald Trump?
It's a huge worry. Across the United States at all levels, from very local levels to governors, including state legislatures, we saw the Democrats do incredibly well. This raises the question about 2018, that is the next midterm congressional elections, when all 435 members of the U.S. House of Representatives are up for election. 1/3 of the U.S. Senate will be up for election. So these are substantial, huge elections. Usually the president's party doesn't do well in those elections to begin with. On the back of what we saw last night, we could expect that probably we could potentially see a Democratic surge in the midterms. That said, the Democrats have a huge mountain that they have to cross. It's a difficult win for them to get, no matter what surge they have.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us, Christopher and Liberty. Thank you. Now, for years, it looked like the problem of homelessness was